Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best, if he wins, knows the thrills of high achievement, and if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat."
So this is my friend Casey. I asked her if she wanted to be on the podcast, and she was very nice in saying yes. I guess it's been a couple of years since we've known each other now at this point. Yeah. So first it was Casey from work. Now it's Casey from the gym. And Casey, if I get into trouble at work, and it's Casey from work again.
Yeah.
Right. I'm so glad you're doing this today because, like, dude, today was like a bad day for me.
Was it?
I get like a case of the fucking Mondays every week.
Well, it doesn't help that it's like shitty weather out too.
Yeah. There was zero issues at work. Today was my first day back from my next quarter of graduate school. I felt overwhelmed for no reason. Today feels like a day after a relapse. Like shitty fucking day for no reason.
Yeah.
We worked out in the garage. I read an article for school. There's zero issues at work. And I'm just like,
some days are just, you get in a funk.
Yeah. And you probably know this too. I put so much energy into cases of Mondays. Now I don't know how to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to when you're in that kind of mindset to dig yourself out. But I mean, some days are easier than others to do that. And sometimes you just have to ride it out. You're able to, I guess, you were able to dig yourself out of, relapse. So and you can dig yourself out of a funk on a Monday,
So we just did a skier for half hour, and she's like, "You're going so fast on the skier," and I'm like, "Fuck Joe Lopez." That was my thought process the whole time. And I don't mean that literally. I doubt I'll ever see this, but that was my mind. Fuck Joe Lopez. But it did help. It did help. So Casey was perfect to be on the podcast because one, you help a ton of people. Then two, you're sober. I'm sure you have a lot of different situations similar to me with drugs and alcohol, maybe not exactly like me, but you know what it's like to have an issue, to deal with it, to stop, to change your life. And now you're just this awesome person.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, my wife and I, we love you. My sister loves you. I mean,
I love all you guys.
You're a gym favorite, and you're equally, if not crazier than me.
Probably just equally. I don't know if I'm crazier than you, but just as equal for sure.
I don't know anything about you besides Casey from the gym, that you're sober, and that you work at the place you work at.
Ironically, I have Revolution Recovery, which is not a rehab facility.
Yeah. Best dumpster company.
It is. It's a dumpster company and recycling facility. So I think that's where we first connected.
Every chick that answers the phone sounds like she's super hot. All the laborers at work, when I used to work for Hunter Roberts, were dude, they all sound like they're super hot.
I mean, I'm biased because I love them all, but I mean,
they're so friendly.
Yeah, they are. They're great. They know what they're doing. They're on their game, and you have to kind of have a little bit of tough skin to work in the industry. So
I wanted to talk about that. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. But I mean, what?
So I know you said you were engaged, married. I don't know anything about your.
You don't know anything about me, really.
I just know Casey from the gym, and
I grew up in Southwest Philly. It's me, my sister, my mom and dad, just us four. I'm the oldest between the two of us. We're 18 months apart, so we're very close in age.
You what, 34?
Bro, I'm about to be 37.
37. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Shit. All right.
But I'll take it. So yeah, I mean, we just a small little family. In second grade, I stayed back. So me and my sister have been in the same grade.
Really?
Since a young age. That's so everybody always thought we were twins. Never allowed in the same class, but, grew up playing, neighborhood baseball at the park around the corner.
Southwest is rough too.
What?
Southwest is rough too.
Oh, it wasn't that bad when we were younger. I mean, now it's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah.
That's why my parents relocated up here. But yeah, grade school, high school, played softball and basketball.
Nice.
Got to high school and, I wanted to train for basketball because I really wanted to be really great at basketball and I just wasn't. And I just kept trying to do that. So I was like, all right, I'll play soccer just to like get in shape for basketball. And it wound up soccer is like the sport that I probably should have been playing.
Really? You're pretty good at soccer?
I am. I still play now.
Where'd you go to high school?
West Catholic.
West Catholic, okay.
Yeah. So where my dad went, so he kept it in the family, I guess. But throughout high school, played sports, very good in school.
Were you as dedicated in high school as you are now with CrossFit?
Oh, absolutely not. I didn't start CrossFit until I was like...
No, but you know how you're very dedicated.
Oh, yes. Very dedicated to sports. Yes. I didn't really party or anything in high school. I guess when I had my first drink, it was probably 16 years old. And then I would go out with my friends on Saturday night and be fine on Sunday. I wasn't nothing during the week or anything like that. It wasn't until I got to college that I started to, drink a little bit more. But, in high school, end of my junior year, I developed a pretty serious eating disorder.
Did you really?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I did, yeah.
Megan had one too.
Yeah, it was really rough. It was really rough. That lasted until my mid-20s, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that was
anorexia or bulimia?
Both. Both anorexia, bulimia.
Really?
Bounce back between both of them, depending on, what I felt like doing. But yeah, I went to my first treatment for that when I was a senior in high school. We were at a softball game and we had, we were going from a pediatrician to a regular doctor. So we had an appointment. We had to leave our softball game early or whatever. And I was so extremely tired all day. And my parents kind of had an idea what was going on. And then we get to this new doctor and they're taking our blood pressure and all this. And they're you're at 34 beats per minute. 34 beats per minute.
They're dead, right?
Yeah, I was not well. So then, eventually, throughout my senior year, it was getting ready to go to college. I was going to go play soccer. And at college, I went to Immaculata.
Was he a scholarship?
Financial aid, it's a D3 Catholic school. So they don't give,
right.
No. So yeah, I got financial aid to play soccer. So I was at Run Through Center, which is, I went to their...
exactly what it is. Exactly what it is.
I originally went to their outpatient program, the intense, pretty much if you're inpatient, then you would step down to this treatment, but I didn't want to do the inpatient, whatever.
I have a visceral hatred for the Run Through Center.
I am not a fan myself.
Yeah, they poisoned my daughter.
Yeah, they...
Poisoned her.
Yeah, I have my thoughts about it too. I went there a bunch of times. I went inpatient there. So long story short, basically, they were she shouldn't go to college. She should go inpatient. And, me and my family, pretty much decided, we're going to go to college. And from then on, college, that's pretty much why I didn't finish. Well, that is why I didn't finish. My eating disorder just continually got worse. I went to some day treatment programs and this and that. And then finally, after I left college and just started working, I put myself into a different treatment facility out in Lamont, Illinois.
Really?
Yeah, called Timberline Knolls. And that was actually a 12-step based program. They took people with addictions, eating disorders, mood disorders. That was May 18th of 2010. I went there and, I've been pretty good ever since. Still creeps in every once in a while, but... Yeah,
I bet. She says the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not surprising that I kind of developed a drinking issue because, in my opinion, eating disorders are addictive as well. They're addictive type behaviors. So, kind of came full circle.
That's crazy. I had no clue.
Yeah.
I had no clue. Do you keep that a secret for the most part? It's
No, not at all. I've written, my friend from college wrote a book it's called Stomping Out the Stigma. And it's about all kinds of addiction, mental illness. And, she met people in college and we all have a little chapter. So I wrote my chapter in there. And
beautiful.
Yeah. Sometimes she teaches at Immaculata and I go and I speak to her class, about my experience. usually once a year. I go there. So I do talk about it. And now, you know, going through my substance use issues, that's what I talk about now too. So, you know.
You know, it's funny, you said substance use issues. So I'm in treatment, and you know, you have like the lectures and stuff like that. People come in and speak. And then, you know, if you do want to share, you know, I'm Anthony, I'm an alcoholic, I'm Anthony, I'm an addict. And then there was this one chick, dude, she was the craziest chick on the planet. She's like, I'm so-and-so, I have substance use disorder. I'm thinking like, motherfucker, you're an addict.
Yeah.
Like, just say that. But like, it's funny you said that.
Well, I mean,
I'm not.
No, I don't know.
Like,
it doesn't. I just like, you know, wording. I don't know. Sometimes people are sensitive with wording and stuff. So like, I don't really always know what to say. Like, so
you don't always want to be like, I'm a fucking alcoholic.
Yeah, like you know, it's just like it's weird. I don't know, but yeah. So, and then I got married and got divorced.
No shit.
Yeah. So I mean that, you know.
That's a lot of work right there.
It is a lot of work right there. I mean, there's no bad blood there. I mean, I haven't talked to this man in years, but you know, we're going on two different paths. And this was, you know, I used to drink a lot, like, you know, just party, whatever, but nothing compared to what, you know, the past, I'd say like 5 years turned into, where it was like, you know,
took over.
Yeah, it took over my life. You know, so we got married and we were divorced within 3 years. And from there, you know, I moved in with my parents a little bit and then eventually bought my house up here.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
That's a lot.
So how long when did the eating disorder start?
I'm going to say I was probably like 17. Yeah, I was like, I think it was towards the end of my junior. And I've always had like a weird relationship with food before that. But
you think because you were an athlete, you think that's something to do with it?
I think, well, and then also just like, you know, the culture we were brought up with, like, you know, in the 2000s, like, it's like, you know, skinny, hungry is never good, or something like hungry's never as good as skinny feels or something like that. Or I don't know. So it used to just be really, really like pounded into you that like, you know, skinny's beautiful and like all this stuff. Now it's like, you know, big butt and stuff is like great. And it's like, so like I'm in there trying to do like, you know, all these squats to like, you know, build up my butt a little bit, but you know.
Well, let me ask you this. So like, did you go to treatment for alcohol?
I did go to a couple different, you know, IOP, and then I did go into, I forget what they called it, but it was like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Like day treatment from like, I don't know, I think 7 to like 2. And I did have to like kind of like let work know what was going on with that. And I'm very lucky that I have an amazing boss, manager, that I work for a great company. That was a really big fear of mine.
Yeah, that was my biggest fear.
And I think that, unfortunately, it's a big fear for a lot of people. I think a lot of people stay in active addiction, you know, because of that. And it's really sad that, you know, we live in a society where, you know, mental health kind of takes a backseat to, you know, a lot of society expectations.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Like you put this pressure on yourself. Like you're feeling weak, you're feeling down, you're depressed, you're sad, you're addicted, you're an alcoholic, and you can't even tell anybody because you're afraid of what the consequences might be. And the result is you're trying to save your life and you don't even know how to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yep. And, you know, I do think that now there are being steps taken. Like, I think it's the conversations being had more now, which I think is great. But, you know, still not there. Yeah, in our business. Yeah, I mean, I can't even count on my finger how many people I know, like in our industry, that you know, are sober or, you know, have said that they struggled in the past or something like that. So,
so can you walk me through some of the feelings and emotions that you had with the eating disorder? Because I can only imagine they're probably similar to when you realized you were an alcoholic and you had to stop, or you had an issue with alcohol. Like, what was that like for you?
It was very scary. You know, it felt like I was in control, but really I was completely out of control, like, you know, throughout all of it, honestly. I mean, I think for me, there are two very big similarities between both of those negative coping skills was to numb out whatever I was feeling, and just downplay myself, honestly. Like I've always felt like I was too much, I'm too big. My personality's too big. My body's too big, whatever it is. Or all these feelings I don't know what to do with. I don't want to feel them. So it's either, control what I eat, control my body, focus on that, drink a lot so I don't feel anything and I can escape reality basically. So, realizing, well, at first, I'll just say for both, I was kind of like told that like, hey, you have an issue. You should probably like take care of it, especially with my eating disorder because I was so young. But like then also with my alcohol use, like, family, like I said, very close to like, hey, Case, I think you have a problem. And, my first initial reaction, anger.
Of course, I was going to say that.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm cool.
Like,
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And then eventually it was like, all right, like, fine, I'll give this a try. And for both, it took me many, many tries to get, to get sober and to, be healthy with my relationship with food. It wasn't like, okay, first time I'm getting help for it, I'm great. And I think there are people out there that happens and
it's amazing.
It's great.
I'm amazed that that's even possible.
I know.
Yeah, like, people and we do it like in recovery, they're like, yeah, I got it on my first try. I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm thinking like, fuck you.
Yeah,
But then I also appreciate how long it took me, and maybe you feel the same way. It took what it took. It had to be this way.
Correct.
It had to be this way.
I've learned a lot through each one of my relapses. Mainly that, I can't pick up a drink. It just doesn't, it always plays out the same way.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It might not always be as severe as it was the time before, or maybe, this time was worse than that time. But it never ends up good.
No, like my addiction, the way I describe it, was like a death of 1,000 cuts. Like I I probably wouldn't lose it all. I would just lose little bits and pieces of my soul until it was over, So it's like, I never did anything catastrophic. Maybe some people may think that I did, but in my personal opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's how I would rationalize my drug use. I'm not that bad. I go to work every day.
I get it. And when I have obviously like a lot of friends who are sober and some who aren't, but I've picked up some information. Like someone said to me, like, you don't have to lose everything to have an issue with drinking or, drug use or whatever. Yeah. And I totally agree with that. It's scary because change is scary, and
it's like our brain wants us to be comfortable.
Right.
And sometimes our comfortable, at least I know for me, my comfortable was doing drugs every day. I couldn't imagine stopping. I couldn't imagine it. It just seemed impossible this time around. It just seemed like there was no way that... I remember being in a meeting one time and my dad was speaking at the meeting. And I literally shared that I'm just going to do little bits of Suboxones every day. And that's going to be my life. Like, I work out on Suboxones. I do well in school on Suboxones. And like at the end, my dad's like, dude, first of all, you're crazy. And second of all, like, he was very... to the point, never mean, never would try to lecture me. He would just say, don't believe the lie, man. Like, I was convinced that I could operate at a high level on drugs every day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, with my ED, like, there's a little voice in your head that tells you do this or do that, or you can't have this, you can't have that. And it's the same thing with the substance. It's like, you can, it's fine. Like, it is a lie. And I also heard someone say, I don't know if it was at a meeting or something like that. After time, sometimes you start to kind of believe that voice a little bit. And that's why you have to kind of remind yourself and keep yourself in check. No, you can't listen to it.
So what did you do to get to the eating disorder? How did you do it?
I went away to inpatient treatment. So, like I said, a couple times I went to inpatient treatment. I went to Renfrew on that inpatient facility out in Chestnut Hill. I was there for, I can't remember how many months I was there. And at the time I was in a relationship, which was all right. So I would have his family come see me, my family would come see me. But I think I was just kind of playing the role of like, I was called the perfect patient.
Yeah.
I would do everything that I was supposed to do, but like I really wasn't doing the real work internally. And again, I think I was like, I don't know, 22 or something like that at the time. I was young. And I didn't really know what real work on yourself actually meant.
Right.
And, also at that facility, in my opinion, I don't think the therapy was actually that great there. I kind of felt like it was a feeding clinic more so than anything. And I didn't have the best experience there. So I relapsed very quickly after I left.
So what does a relapse from an eating disorder look like?
It would be, so like I said, I had both anorexia and bulimia. So it would be, all right, well, I'm going to start cutting this food out a little bit. I'm going to start hiding food away here and like, sort of like, I don't want to give away too many, I don't want to like,
I understand.
You know what I mean? I don't
some of the ideas.
Yeah. So basically cutting down your food intake.
Dramatically, I imagine. Or gradual, and then it ends up being dramatic?
Correct, yes. And then as far as bulimia goes, just purging. And that can come in many different forms, But like I said, I don't want to give any tips and tricks away.
I'm at the Renfrew Center with my daughter's mom, and I'm sitting there, and we're having a counseling session with just my daughter's mother and I, and they're like, well, if you think about it, a handful of Oreos is the same thing as having some apple slices. And I mean, I'm a kinesiology major at Temple, and I'm like, no, the fuck it's not. I'm like, some of the information, I can't say all, but some of it, I think, had the opposite effect on someone that was in my daughter's situation. And it's not just coming from me. Like, my daughter would agree. Like, it was not the best situation.
I mean, and, it could just be the specific, therapists or doctors there at the time. Like, I don't want to, put a red flag on like the company as a whole, obviously, or whatever.
Well, it's like there's good and bad in every industry.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's like a life-saving industry.
Yeah. And then, after that, like I relapsed, and eventually I was out of school. I was broken up with the boyfriend, living at home, like kind of going to work, just kind of going through the motions of the day, like not even, and same thing when I was really bad, like in my alcoholism, like not really living,
It just exists.
Pretty much. And there was a girl that I had met at Renfrew, who I saw like on Facebook, and she was doing really well, but she had also relapsed and went to this other facility. And I just messaged her one day. I'm like, where did you go? Like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, I can't be around. And at the time, my relationship with my family was really like in turmoil. I was just like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I need to like figure this out. So she sent me the information, and I went to that facility, and that facility,
Change your life?
Changed my life, saved my life.
That's like the Karen treatment centers in that.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, they were a 12-step based program. So I did, get my first taste of kind of like the AA style then. They would hold all different kind of meetings at this facility, which was a beautiful campus, by the way. I'm very, very grateful that I was able to go there. They would have like EDA, Eating Disorder Anonymous, and these meetings actually really do exist. I'm not sure if people actually know that or not. And then when I had gotten out of there, I had a family member who just got out of a drug rehab facility, and I would go to NA with her, just to kind of, keep up with just the style of treatment I was used to. And then eventually that fell off. But
So like when you got through your eating disorder, or, it's something you have to manage every day for the rest of your life, right? So you're managing that. And then you have the issue with alcohol. Now, when you had that issue, did the eating disorder stuff crop back in, or was that kind of something you were able to manage?
No, I was able to manage that. I mean, unfortunately, when I was drinking a lot, like I really wouldn't fuel my body properly, because when I was drinking a lot, like I wasn't hungry, like, but now, like, I mean, there was times like the voice would come in, and like, cause you get really, really dark Well, I get really,
you're in
really
a dark spot. You're weak already.
when I'm intoxicated, like just that voice definitely creeps in. But I've always been able to manage it since then. But yeah, I mean, so I get out of treatment and I don't know, I finally started working at Revolution Recovery.
How long have you been there now?
Geez, it'll be 14 years in June.
Shit.
Yeah. And everything, is great. And, I do like that. I am a party guy. I've always been like a party girl and stuff. And, years go by, I met the ex-husband, things are rocky there after a little while.
Did you have an issue with alcohol during the time with your ex-husband?
So alcohol is funny because it's like, no, like by the end of my alcohol use, I was like drinking at home alone a lot, all the time. Like I would say no, but I definitely amped up drinking because that's what we like to do together.
So you didn't recognize that it was an issue?
No. And, you rationalize like, oh, it was a bad night. Like, we were drunk, whatever. People rationalize that a lot.
Of course, yeah.
And alcohol is so like accepted in our culture. So it's a little bit difficult. I'd say, with drugs, it's like, oh, well, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
But like alcohol is acceptable.
Yeah, you can't casually snort
like,
Perk 30s at work.
Right, exactly. Right, like it's hard. So yeah, after that, and I moved into my house, I quickly fell into another relationship, which was not great at all. And that's where my alcoholism really took a turn for the worse.
With him or because of him?
With him, and then I'm not going to say because of him because
Well, when I say because of him, I mean like you're drinking together.
Well, I don't want to air out too much dirty laundry, but I knew this man like my whole life, and he came around like as I was getting divorced, and it turns out that he was an addict. I didn't believe it. I was Delulu, and then I kind of like found out in a certain way, and I was like, yeah.
Did you say Delulu?
Yeah, Delulu.
I like
He'd
that.
come to my house, and then I was like, all right, you got to go. Like, you got to get your shit together. Like, you can't stay here no more. And then eventually he had to go to rehab. He'd call me and stuff. And then when he was getting out of rehab, his mom called me like, can you just stay at your house for like a week? Like till we figure out where he can go. I'm like, fine. So I pick him up from rehab, and 3 years later,
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, that definitely was a very, very toxic relationship. At first it was all right. Like I said, I knew him since I was like 5. He was like my first boyfriend when I was 12. So I trusted him a lot. And yeah, it didn't end well.
It's crazy because like when I see you, I know you as sober Casey, right? So when I see you at the gym, you're like one of the most disciplined people that I know of at the gym. You're always smiling, you're always happy, you're always wanting to help people. And like I didn't realize you had all these like this trauma that you deal with.
Oh yeah.
No one fucking knows that. You walk to the gym like, well, all of us, we walk in, we're happy. Like no one fucking knows. Like I made a joke in the one podcast. Like if anyone ever saw me squatting or doing just squats, push-ups and pull-ups, I was high that day.
You said that in one of your episodes. Yeah.
Like when nobody knows, you're dying inside, And
that's kind of like the main reason why I do come in as much as I can with a smile, and I do, want to give everybody like the benefit of the doubt. And, I don't know what goes on with everybody all the time. Nobody does. You don't know what someone's dealing with. Like, and it's tough. Life is tough.
Life is tough. Life is tough.
So
I had a situation the other day. It was so what if there was 100 guys that passed through the project that I'm on, I got along with 99 of them. The one floor guy is the most miserable person I've ever met in my entire construction career. And he walked by me the other day, and I said, oh, there's the happiest guy in the job. And I did it because he's been a dick to me so often. I probably shouldn't even have said that. And he's like, I'm just tired of dealing with idiots. And he walks through our temporary door, and I thought about it for like 0.25 seconds. I'm like, nah. I opened the door, and I'm like, yo, cuz,
Yeah.
you fucking call me an idiot one more time, we're gonna have a big problem. You know, just don't talk to me. I'm like, just stop being a miserable prick then.
Right.
And he's calling me an asshole, and I'm calling him. I'm like, and then I said, I would hate to be someone in your personal life because you're such a miserable fucking prick. And I felt bad for a second, but he's so mean to me. And like, if you take the job as a whole, like everybody gets along with this dude. But then I thought about the next day, and I was too much of a bitch to say something, but I thought I should have, like, he's not there anymore. I should have just said, like, I should have apologized because I have no idea what's going on in this dude's life.
Yeah.
But in the heat of the moment, guys are around, you feel embarrassed. It's a tough industry. I'm the superintendent. I'm like, nah, I got it. And I felt, it kind of ate me up for a little bit.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Because you are a kind person. You
I hate being
are.
confrontational.
You're empathetic. You're compassionate. Like, you know, so, but I mean, everybody's human. And like, you know, you're going to get pushed to those limits. I mean, you want to, and you also don't want to let people walk all over you either.
For sure.
You know, I mean, you can't let people do that.
Well, like, I hate being embarrassed more than anything on the planet. And I felt embarrassed because I already have all this self-doubt at work anyway. Now, if you like take this, and you know construction, you take this project as a whole, there's a schedule, there's a budget. We got our certificate of occupancy on time. We got our substantial completion on time. The company is getting their fee. So I've done everything on paper that would indicate that I know what the fuck I'm doing, but I still feel like sooner or later someone's gonna find out I'm a fucking idiot.
You're not a fucking idiot though. That's the thing.
It's tough. It's tough to deal with at work because it's just something I'm working out.
That's that like negative self-talk that creeps in. And that's tough for people like us. And I think tough for a lot of people, not just people like us. Like, and you have to really like be able to catch yourself when you do that. And it's hard.
It is hard.
I'm working on self-compassion and therapy because yes, I go to therapy. Which I think everybody would totally benefit from.
Yeah, I love it. I had this like preconceived notion in my head, like, nah, not going to therapy. And the guy's great. He's a life coach, just like a therapist. The fucking guy's great. He's great.
I mean, I feel like I've pretty much been in therapy my whole life, like since I was a teenager, with all my shit. You know, so there has been times in therapy that like I definitely was just going to make people happy. But, you know, at this point in my life, you know, it's helping me grow.
No, I get it. Like my whole entire journey in sobriety was I'll go to meetings to shut somebody up the whole time. And every time I relapsed. And now it's like I go because I want to go. It's like part of my system. Like the system I created to help me make me feel better on a daily basis. Like I have to do something and I go almost every day, you know? Yeah. So I get it. So tell me about the Phoenix. I don't even know how that started. I know what it is. I don't know how it started. Like, explain that to me.
So when I was in one of the IOP programs at, where was I? RCA in Devon.
Oh, and,
yeah. Very grateful that I went there. A couple times. And the therapist, I believe her name was Jenny, because like all I would talk about, like, well, I don't know how I'm going to manage this with work, and I got to go to the gym, and like I was just always pissed off all the time when I was like, you know, trying to get sober.
Always pissed.
I was always pissed off.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Like, can't you see I'm trying?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here. Like, what the hell? Like writing down in my notebook, like, do you see my schedule? So she was just like, well, why don't you, there's this national active sober community. You should check that out. So eventually I did. And I went there. It was like October of 22 was either end of September or early October of 22 was like my first class in Willow Grove. Oh, and I should mention, like, there's an app, there's a website. You can just put your zip code in, find any class. It's not just CrossFit. They do hiking, nature walks, you know, just like social activities, coffee, meetups, yoga, all kinds of stuff. They do all different kind of like meetings too, like Dharma, Smart Recovery.
Dharma was the shit.
All kinds of stuff on there.
I like Dharma a lot. That's the meditation one.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I never meditated in my life. I was able to do it like 20 minutes at a clip.
I love meditation.
It was pretty cool. I would just talk to my dad the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So I went there, and then, you know, I relapsed a couple times until I finally got sober for real in December of 22. And, you know, I just kind of made that like my weekly thing that I would go to that class every week. And, you know, the owner there, Kevin, very grateful for him, and a couple others that are involved with the Phoenix, Gavin, Chris. They're like, you know, Casey, you should volunteer. And so it's like, I was like, well, what does that entail? They're like, just spread the word, like whatever. So I kind of got involved with volunteering on social media, met a couple other people involved, and they're like, you should get your L1. Like, the Phoenix will sponsor you.
What's
like,
the L1?
Oh, for CrossFit.
Yeah, no, I know what it is.
Oh, well, sorry. L1 certificate to become a CrossFit coach. So they did do that for me, and I was able to bring the Phoenix class to our CrossFit gym.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So.
Yeah, so you help a lot of people.
I try.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can inspire someone, it's not so much like wanting to like inspire people or motivate people. It's just to make people feel like they're not alone and that they can do hard things. Sometimes I feel like, and I felt like this, like I can't do this. Like there were times more than I can count that I was just like, I hope I don't wake up tomorrow. It's like, I just want people to feel their worth and know that they can accomplish hard things. And, it might not be somebody who's, trying to get sober or staying sober. It could just be anybody who's had like fitness journey or like whatever it is. Life is hard, like I said, and, you need community as much as, sometimes people don't like community. I think it's so important.
I do. And that's one thing I learned, and I said this before with treatment, the opposite of addiction is connection. When I'm like drinking or trying not to drink, but not sober, it's like I'm not connected to anything. Anybody, my family, my pets, my dog.
I don't care about anything.
Zero.
Absolutely nothing except, that next drink.
Yeah, just got to feel better.
And I'll say, like, since I've been sober, I do some reflection every week. And
what does that look like? What do you mean?
Kind of like a meditation, like every Sunday, like I'll either be sitting down or like laying in bed or like whatever. And I'll just be like, all right, so how do I feel? It's like a self-check-in. I used to do it every single day. I'm not perfect, so I don't do it every day.
Yeah, I started off like heavy with like
So I try at least once a week to like check in with myself to see like what's going on. And what's really been coming up for me recently has just been how grateful I am that I've made such genuine human connections within like the last 15 months that I've been sober, like, with people in the sobriety.
Genuine.
They are like genuine. Legit genuine. Like not just people in the sober community, but like people who are like that I was friends with before I got sober that I'm closer to now than I ever, and I've known them longer not being sober than I have being sober. And it's just crazy that like, the connection that you can have with people when you're fully present is just, amazing in my opinion.
Yeah, I love it. Megan, I always say to Megan all the time, like I'm antisocial. I really don't like to talk to people. It's just like, are you fucking kidding me? You everybody, but because I feel that way.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like I don't know if it's like a coping mechanism or some. It's hard to put into words. But when I go to the gym and I'm saying hello to people and talking to people, like it's probably because I like feel nervous.
You are a very nervous person.
Yeah, I am.
But you don't come off that way.
Yeah, but
you not come off that way at all.
Yeah, but like being sober, I say it more. Like I just I'm looking forward to like finally doing like a presentation or something for school, or like even like with leadership development. I think the hardest part is you feel so nervous in your head, and I think you just gotta say the words. You know what I mean? Just like broadcast, like I'm fucking nervous as shit. But let's go. In whatever way.
And like because everybody feels that way. I mean, for the most part, I would think so. Like, especially given like a presentation, Jesus.
I remember my first owners meeting after treatment. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Cause like, I'm trying to stop drinking and I couldn't stay sober, and I'd still have owners meetings, foreman's meetings, project managers meetings. And I'm like, I'm drinking for this shit, dude. So like my first week after treatment, like the day I got back was a Monday and it was an owners meeting. And I'm like, welcome back, Anthony. Is everything okay? And like, I was like, yeah, great.
That's awesome.
I was so fucking nervous, but like, you just gotta like own it, right?
Yeah, that's it. You just have to own it. Exactly it. Like, I think I own a lot of who I am a lot of the time. I am a very social person. I do need to let my batteries recharge though, so I do appreciate my alone time. But for like a really long time, like I was always afraid to be that, big personality type or extroverted type of person that I have grown into throughout my sobriety. Like,
Why is that hard for you? Or why was it hard for
I
you?
think
I know why it's hard for me.
I have a huge fear of like people rejecting me. You know, not feeling good enough.
Yeah.
You know, and that is still something that I'm working on and have to work through. And I probably will have to work through that like my whole life. That's just one of my things. You know, fear can really drive a lot of people to not be, you know, the best versions of themselves that they can be. You know, regardless if that's not making the connection with someone or if that's staying in their addiction or, you know, whatever it might be. So I just kind of like to lead with my smile first and, you know, whatever, and see what the vibe is sometimes.
Well, yeah, like for me, like I talk shit in my head all
sure. Yeah.
every day.
Yep.
I got off social media like 7 years ago. I can't, and I wasn't like a post type person, or I wouldn't even respond, but I'd be reading these comments and I'm like, this fucking person don't know what they're talking about. This person's an idiot. And like, that's just me being a dick.
Right.
So I recognize that. So with sobriety, and maybe you can relate, like, I'm able to kind of like shut down my dickheadedness in real time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's hard because sometimes it comes out. And then I have to be like, I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah, I was only fucking kidding, right? You know, like I'm a dick.
I know. But you're joking around, you know.
I joke around, like, even my dad would say, like, no one knows when the fuck you're joking at. And I'm like, all right, dude, I was just kidding.
Self-awareness, you know what I mean? And that's, you know, being able to be self-aware is pretty good superpower to have.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And plus, I think with sobriety, as far as the inevitable judgment that comes with all things in life, I can handle it so much better because I feel good about myself. You know what I mean? But like, you know, trying to stay sober and not being able to, if someone talks shit or someone says something negative or someone steps on your fucking toe, I'm in the corner crying.
Yeah.
Every time. You know, and like now it's not like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 15 months sober. What does that look like now for you? Like a different life? I mean, like I'm really big on goal setting.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of can relate. Like what has sobriety offered you that you want to do like in your previous life that you couldn't? Because for me, it just opens up so many doors.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm as fit as I think I've ever been in my entire life, which is important to me.
Yeah.
I've been able to do a lot of competitions that I've always wanted to do that I never thought I would be able to do, CrossFit competitions. But also I've just been able to, you know, have that genuine connection with people and mend relationships. I've excelled at work, you know.
It's funny how that happens.
I know. You know, I coach now, which is great.
So what was that like first class you coached? Because I used to coach at No Limit.
It was great because it was Jake and Pre-Paul. I don't know if you know.
Maybe to see them.
Yeah. Jake the Snake. You don't know Jake?
Maybe.
You would know him if you see him. So it was just these two guys, and it was great. And Jake's been very excited for me. So he's Pre-Paul. Everybody's been nothing short of supportive of, at least to my face. Of, you know, me becoming a coach and everything. So it was great. I mean, and I was nervous as all hell.
Yeah.
Especially like, and I still get nervous. I'm like counting, like looking at the workout, making sure I'm like, okay, so I can only have this much time for them to stretch. And like, I got to start this part. And then, oh my God, what if I go over time or what if I'm under time? Like I still get, like I had to cover 6 a.m. this morning and I'm like, oh my God, like we're running behind. Like, oh my God, but it was fine. It's fine. Yeah. I really enjoy it. And like everybody at our gym,
it's fun.
You know,
it was fun coaching.
It's a good time.
Yeah, I did it for a few years. It was I loved it because it was like, it's like you with Raid was how I felt at No Limit. I was just comfortable with everybody. But still,
I didn't know you coached.
Yeah, like 3 years maybe. Yeah. I never got my L1.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
But Sean was cool as shit. He was just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, dude. You know what you're doing.
Do you ever think you would coach again? Or any, like, kind of anything? I don't know if you know.
Like my background when I was an undergrad, I was the strength and conditioning coach at Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. So I did that for 3 years. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know that I would do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not against it. I just
Right.
don't know where I'd find the time to like fit it in.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, that's kind of like, so I've had like goals of, first year of staying sober is like, let's get through this first year.
Yeah.
A lot of firsts.
That's my top goal.
And throughout that, I had a lot of fitness goals, stayed committed to the Phoenix, volunteering, getting my LM for that. Like I said, just making it through the first year and like into the second year now, again, still have my fitness goals. I just did the super total, which you were able to come and support me and your sister at, which, had a couple months of training with that.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. I really enjoyed it.
You definitely got the bug. So you went and you lifted right after.
I'm fucking nuts.
Yeah. I know you are,
I'm
but
fucking nuts.
I
literally was driving down the street road and I'm like, yeah, I gotta see.
I would be the same way. I'd be the same way. So you've got to do it next year.
Yeah.
So, I started, this second year training for that, very dedicated and committed to that, which, I have to give a shout out to Justin, the owner of Rated, my coach.
Great guys.
He has seen me through a lot of fucking shit, man. He has seen me through a lot of shit. And he's a great coach, and great friend.
Yeah, the whole crew over there.
Oh yeah,
his
wife Melanie has seen me since I first started CrossFit. I mean, and they've all seen me in my worst way possible.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome that, they, stuck around as friends, more than anything. And gave me the opportunity to like, kind of step in and coach at Raid and, be as involved as I am, which is great. And especially with bringing in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
But anyway, so now, I was going to run the New York City Marathon for this other organization I volunteer for called Luna, which they send kids and teens to camps who either have family members, guardians who have substance use issues, or if they're dealing with grief or loss. So I decided not to do that.
Because of CrossFit?
Kind of because of CrossFit, yeah, because I do want to continue.
It's hard. It'd be hard to train for both.
Yeah, I think this is like, a good spot for me. I have a good routine and I have an idea of like the strength training I want to do. And, it's also good, I think, for me to just kind of be for a little bit and not necessarily have something that I'm working towards, at least, in the gym. I think it's just kind of, figuring out what I kind of want to do next is where I'm at right now. If there's anything I really want to do next.
Are you talking specifically fitness goals?
No, I'm just talking about my life.
Right. Like, do you plan on staying at Revolution Recovery for a while?
Yeah. I have no plans on leaving there. I mean, I'd love to see where the Phoenix leads me. Getting more involved with this organizational Luna. And then, I think just kind of, you also kind of have, for me, it's just kind of like accepting like, kind of where you're at as well and just riding that train for a bit, I think is important. Cause also, as addicts, like we always want more, And I think for now, I want to try and just enjoy what I have. Which is kind of hard.
It is hard. It is hard. Like I understand completely. Like this time around for me, it's like, I'm back at school. It's my second quarter started today. And we had this like culture review at McDonald's like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And the person that did it, she has her own practice. She's we would call she's in organization development. So she has her own practice. And I'm like, gosh, let me just reach out to her. So I reached out to her. We had a meeting Friday and she linked me up with another person. We're going to have a meeting this Friday. It's kind of like, to your point, like, I'm trying to stay focused on today, but also if I'm really serious about changing careers, I also have to like lay the groundwork. But it's so tough. Like I had this meeting Friday and it went really well. The person was very complimentary. Like, you're trying to like, you're not putting on a facade but you need to change the way you're speaking. It's like an interview. Right. You know what I mean? You need to let them know that, you're motivated, you're determined, and you also can talk the talk and you're walking the walk. So it's very challenging. Right. Because like I'm a fucking superintendent trying to break into leadership development and I'm trying to sell myself as like, a construction manager is the same thing as like, you know, managing any other fucking place.
Right.
And the way I explained it was, you know, for what we do in construction, like some days you're dealing with, you know, the bottom of the food chain type of human, just because that's just who they are. And then the next day you're talking to the owner's rep or the design team, and you need to be able to navigate those kinds of conversations. But to your point, like saying this today, it's fucking hard. Like today I was like, I started school and I'm like online and I'm like reading a couple articles and like, I'm just like miserable. I'm depressed. I'm like, I said to my wife when I came home and I'm like, I don't know if I have like, you know, short-term depression, but like I was miserable for no reason all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's Monday, it's raining, like it's going to be like this all week. Which isn't great. I mean, I'm somebody who, you know, the weather definitely affects my mood for sure. But you know, I mean, you seem a little bit happier now.
Yeah,
like, you know, just kind of have to like, you know, that self-awareness that, like I said, when I check in with myself, it's like, you know, how am I feeling? Because for a long time, like you're not trying to feel nothing.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what I'm just getting used to feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, I feel like I still am sometimes too. But yeah, I mean, I definitely like, I'd like to explore other hobbies that are outside of fitness.
Like what?
I did always used to like to paint.
Really?
So I'd like to paint.
Like art type shit? Okay.
Like paint some
Call my numbers?
No. But
My
yeah,
mom paints and I'm like, give me a fucking break, dude.
you know, I'd like to like pull that out, or I don't know. I mean, I'm you know, planning a couple trips for this summer. Like just want to be outside as much as possible.
But you couldn't do any of this shit before you got sober, right? Or
No.
like it just wasn't authentic.
It wasn't authentic, and I could care less.
Yeah.
I could care less.
Yeah.
You know, I was just in my own miserable world, like at the bottom of the barrel. And, you know, even it's like the energy that it takes, like, you know, with relapse and like, you know, starting over again, like, you know, I will praise anybody who relapses and starts over, but every time it takes more and more energy to get started again.
Yeah, this was so hard this time.
Yeah. So I try to remind myself of that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to maybe fix up my house a little bit or something. Like, I don't know, open up some energy for other things to come into my life. We'll see. I don't know.
So what do you do? Because I struggle with this now. Like, what do you do? Like, you just did the weightlifting competition. So I'm notorious for this. Like, I'll train I haven't done a competition in a long time, and I'm going to do SummerSlam, but I'll train for a competition. Even the open kind of sorted, not that I trained for, but I did it. And when it was over, I felt shitty. We ran 100 miles. When I did it, it was over. I felt shitty. Same thing with the ski. Like I'm motivated, I accomplish something, and then it takes like a whole new rewire to get motivated again. For me, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
was there like a shutdown? Because you were at the gym yesterday, fucking 12 hours into the competition, and you were grinding.
I mean, I don't know. It's my happy place. It's my happy place. But I will say that I'm trying to explore what other kind of happy place or happy thing I can do that's outside of the gym. Because as much as I love it, like, you know, what if, God forbid, I get injured or like whatever, I can't do it for whatever reason. I need to have something else that gives me just as much joy as working out does. Now, am I there every day feeling happy and great? No. Some days I literally am crying while I'm working out. People might not see it, but I'm just like, you know, getting that emotion out, or like I hate it, but like, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, my first initial reaction yesterday was, you know, what next? What next?
Yeah, right. I think like that all the time. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. But I also want to work on just being and just, you know, taking it day by day, but like, all right, so you're not working towards anything specific right now. At least, you know, at the gym, like, just be.
So my biggest struggle in sobriety right now is the downtime. So Monday through Saturday, there's a million things going on. And then not necessarily every Sunday, but most Sundays we'll go to the gym. I'll do something for my recovery. And then it's just like, fuck, I have nothing to do. Like I could read, I could work on something, but I won't. And I need to get better with that. But the downtime, because I need to take a fucking break too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I have a hard time doing nothing. Not as bad as before, where like I want to drink or use or anything like that. But like, again, it's like I start to feel like sad, and miserable for no reason, and I'm struggling. I'm still struggling with that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emotions, like you said, that you're trying to get used to. I mean, you've numbed them for so long. Yeah, they're gonna come out of nowhere. I mean, there'll be days that I'm just driving in my car, and I'm just like, all of a sudden, like it's like, all right, we're gonna be absolutely sad as shit right now.
For no reason.
I'll play into it. I'll be like, I'm gonna put the saddest fucking song on right now, and I'm just gonna bawl my eyes out. But sometimes that'll like kind of linger a little bit, where I should just let it go. So that's where I have to be careful. But the downtime for me, like that always was very, very difficult for me. Sometimes still is. I actually don't really leave myself a lot of room for downtime still, which is what I'm trying to kind of dabble into now.
Yeah.
But for my downtime, I do appreciate it. Like I'm a bubble bath girl. I like to take my bubble baths with my candles and my chocolates. I swear to God, like it is my thing. I love it. And then I also think I live alone with my dog, so it's kind of like I've had to just figure out quiet alone time.
Yeah.
Kind of fast. So yeah.
Well, I think the reason why I asked you to do this is because I'm very impressed by everything you do. I'm serious. Like my wife is too. Like you're the only female that my wife will let me be friends with.
Okay.
So,
good.
I'm not friends with, even like my sister-in-law texted me the other day. I forget what it was exactly. Like, hey, do you know this person? And it was like, why the fuck she texting me? Like, I don't know. Ask her. But so I mean, this is the way you are at the gym. Super dedicated. It's probably been like a handful of times where like I can't get a scheduled delivery. I'm like, nah, I gotta call Casey.
Yeah,
and I feel bad doing that because
it's my job.
Yeah, so that's
makes me
great.
feel important.
But I kind of wanted to end with this because when I was at the old gym, No Limit, he had a big, and I asked Bucky this too. They had a quote on the wall from Fight Club, the definition of hell. Right, the definition of hell is on your last day on earth, the person you are. This is my definition. The definition of hell. The person you are meets the person you could have been. Right, and that I would read that quote in and out of relapses. I wasn't sober there either. In and out of relapses, and like that to me is fucking hell. The way I was living, if I were to die that way, to meet this person now, like that would be fucking hell. That would be hell. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. I mean, when I was thinking about this earlier today, I'm like, what a waste of a person I was being.
Yeah.
And how selfish that is to deprive the world of who I actually am.
Yeah, just a ball of energy.
I don't know if it's God, the universe, whatever, whoever you believe in, but like, it's just like, man, like, why would I want to waste this amazing like spirit that I have and compassion that I have drunk all the time, I'm so grateful that I'm able to kind of like spread some positivity or whatever, and yeah, I would really hate to be back where I was.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So one more thing.
Okay.
My first semester back in college in like 08 or 09, I just left the Carpenters Union. I was a journeyman, so I was making the max rate. And, first semester back in college, I'm fucking broke, like rather quickly. And the person I was with at the time recommended this book. It was called Game, Set, Life. And one of the chapters was, had this quote in there. The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. Right? So kind of goes hand in hand with the definition of hell from the Fight Club. Like, I'm not afraid to try anything. And I can authentically do that sober. Dealing with failure is something I need to get better with. But that's why my wife, me, my family, like we're always like, we're just trying so hard. For what? Because like, what's the alternative? You know what I mean? Like I have to keep going. And for me, that just looks like a lot of different shit. And like for you, it looks like a lot of different things as well. It's like, I can't stay still. I can't stay still because we get one shot at this. And like, it was so hard to get sober this time. It was so fucking hard.
I know.
It was brutal.
Yeah, I don't want to have to get sober again.
No, I do not want day one ever again.
Absolutely not. You know, and I will say I never say never, but you know, that's why it says one day at a time.
One day at a time, yeah.
You know?
But you know, I was actually just talking to my buddy about this and I'm like, you know, I can't raise my hand and say like, I'm fucking staying sober forever. But like, I feel that way.
Oh yeah, I feel that way too.
I do feel that way. Like I maxed out all my chances, all my reservations, fucking maxed out. You know what I mean? Like I always had something in my head like, well, no, if this happens, I'll probably do this. And now it's like, I'm at a point in my life where I've put the pieces together. Like, although it was kind of fake for years, I was able to keep it together for the most part and not lose everything. And now that I've been able to hold on to it, my wife gave me a chance, my daughter gave me a chance. It's like, oh my God, I would deserve all the fucking punishment that I would get if I fucked up again.
I mean, you know, but like I said, just if that happens, you just have to try again.
Yeah.
You have to try again.
Yeah.
But do we want to do that? Like, do we want to have to do that? No.
Fuck that.
I mean, and you know, for me, I think, you know, I know the only time that I ever want to drink now, like if I ever, I'm like, not that I want to drink, but I'll be like really stressed out or really pissed off, really upset, anything, any negative emotion. I'm like, it would be so great if I could just have a drink and like just not feel like this.
Yeah.
Like those thoughts come into my head, but like, am I going to do it? No. But I'm like, you know, I went out for St. Patty's Day to the bar with my family and some friends. Like I sang karaoke sober. Like I could.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I don't give a shit.
Good for you.
I can do all these things, these amazing things sober. And I'm like, I have no reason to like, well, I don't want to drink to do that. First of all, I don't want the hangover. So I know for me that drinking is toxic because I only ever think about, damn, it would be great to have a drink is when I'm having a negative emotion that I don't want to sit in.
Yeah.
You know?
So like, it's funny for me, like alcoholic, drug addict, whatever, like my first thought, and they've been rare, is, oh man, it'd be great to fucking do a perk right now. Like that is like, so like, you can't do that in any normal setting ever.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, loser, you can't do that. Like, so like, I'm able to like kind of crush that like pretty quickly, but any final thoughts?
No, thank you for having me here. This is great. It's been great to get to know you a little bit better. Like
we definitely got to know each other better since I got sober.
Yeah, Natalie, love your sister to death. She's great.
So my sister was real sick the other night. Went to the emergency room and texted Casey and doesn't even tell.
It's a 5 o'clock when she knows I'll off at that time. That's why. That's why.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm probably like your new sister now. So
it's all good. Well, I love you. My wife loves you.
I love you guys too.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Got it.
Boom.
Cool.
Guess I want to end it this way.
Love you, bro.
Yeah.
We love you, Dad.
I love all of you.
We love you, daughter.
I love you too.
Wow, that was nice.
And I tell you what.